Şunu yapabilirim.
Great life.
Hello everyone. So yeah, alive. Hello. Today I'm taking over the webinar responsibility. So let's wait for everyone to join. So far, 25 people are watching us. Let's wait for more people to come in and then we will start. Can you first of all tell me if my voice is audible? Is that good? Can you give me a rating of like any out of 10? All right, it'll show that says it is 10 out of 10. So, all right. All right, guys, so if you can hear me well, give me your rating of how well I am audible. So we're gonna wait for more people to join and then we will start. So 21 people have joined in, I think. The number is increasing. So yeah, all right, 7, 8. So probably I'm good. I'm good to go. So, all right, so we can start. So now, oftentimes I, see students looking for some shortcuts when it comes to the reading portion of the IELTS exam, right? So you see that successful students, students who have achieved a high score in the IELTS exam overall tend to score very high in listening and reading sections. So they usually, get to increase their overall scores because they scored very well in listening and reading. And I think here you can actually have a really good chance of improving your overall score by scoring very well in these two sections. So today I'm going to show you how I do IELTS reading passage like in the real exam situation. So in the real exam conditions. So I'm going to putting myself in the hot spot and I will show you how I do a reading passage and I will be telling you the thoughts that I have when I'm doing, and it's basically going to be a walkthrough of how I do a reading passage. So we are planning to do more of this in the coming days. So I've chosen a reading passage 3 because reading passage 3 is the most difficult passage. So you're gonna first of all tell me if you can see the files or documents shared. Can you tell me if you can see it? All right. So I am moving. So I hope everybody can see what I'm doing with the documents. So can you see it? So if you please tell me you can view what I'm doing with the text. All right. So I am waiting for you guys to tell me how I'm doing. I guess we can start, right? All right, I'm not really sure what's going on here. So I hope we are good to go. So again, we are looking at passage 3. When you have passage 3, you need to make sure that you have a good amount of time on your hands. So it means that you need to do very well in terms of time management when you did passage 1 and passage 2. So the way I see it, when you would like to get in the highest score possible for this portion of the exam, you need to at least have 25 minutes for the last passage, because here you have a discursive or argumentative passage. So that means you're going to probably need to do a bit of thinking. It is actually a comprehension test per se. It's not really requiring you to make some jumps in terms of critical thinking. It's just a test of how well you understand the passage. But some of the questions actually may go beyond the comprehension. It might require you to put a few pieces together and understand the passage as a whole, like questions that check your global understanding. So some questions, require you to give a title for the reading passage 3, or they ask you to tell the purpose of the reading passage. So these questions are called global understanding questions, and they are, like, in my opinion, more than the comprehension questions. They're actually requiring you to consider overall aspect. You are actually becoming a writer to some degree. So now I'm gonna ask a question. You guys going to tell me in the chat section. So do you guys think it's better to read the passage first or questions first? What do you think? Okay, so I'm waiting for you guys to. Do you read a passage or do you read the questions first? How you go about doing an IELTS reading passage? I'm guys to say, what do you do? So they do first. The read questions first. All right, something happened. So I hope I'm back. I don't know what something happened. So there was an internet problem. So I'm again back. So, all right. Anyway, what I usually do, I first of all read the title. So the title is really important, but what authors do, they do a wordplay with the title. So you don't really get to know much when you read the title. So I think it's important to read the subtitle, and of course, read the title as well. So the Ingenuity Gap. So you see, when I read the title, it doesn't give me much idea of what the passage will be about. The ingenuity is the ability to think of ideas, right? But in Unity Gap, all right, I'm back. All right, so I think, yes, read the title, but it's not going to give you much idea of what the passage will be about. But more than the title, it is subtitle that's really important. That is going to give you a context. So always make sure that you read the subtitle, because it will give you a context, and that context allows you to predict what kind of information you're going to have in the passage. So in this book, Introduction, the author explains what he means by ingenuity and discuss the factors that influence the requirement for and provision of new ideas in today's society. So it's going to be about ingenuity. So it's going to be probably a book review. So it's going to be a book review. So the author is going to explain what ingenuity means. So he's going to give us the definition of ingenuity and what kind of factors determine the need for and provision of new ideas in today's society. So basically, I now have an idea of what the passage will be about. The passage will be about new ideas. How do people come up with new ideas? So this is going to what the passage will be about. So some people actually are able to create, innovate new things, right? They are very creative, while others are not. So what kind of factors are influencing the people's level of creativity? This is what the passage will be about. So again, before you read questions, before you read the passage, make sure you first of all read the title and subtitle, because doing so allows you to have an overall idea what the passage will be about. And there was a bit of there was a bit of, you know, kind of a debate in terms of how to approach the question. So I personally always go for questions. After I read the title and subtitle, I immediately go to the questions and identify the number of types of questions. So after each passage, you're going to have a certain number of question types. So here, because we're dealing with path history, we are very likely to have yes, no, not given questions. As you can see, we actually have yes, no, not given questions. So, all right. Now, we actually have three types of questions. Questions 33 to 36. They are called matching sentence endings. So they are always in order. So when I am looking at the question types, I am kind of analyzing them as well, because there are certain test specific details that you know. Matching sentence ending questions always come in order. You know, order saying is really important because it helps you a lot in terms of saving time. So if I find the answer to question number 33 in the paragraph number 2, the answer to the 34 should definitely come afterwards. And this is really going to help you a lot in terms of saving time. And the next type of question is called multiple choice, questions 37 to 39. So they are always in order as well. They're always in order as well. And finally, we have yes, no, not given questions. They are always in order as well. So the order thing that I'm mentioning here is specific for each question. So you should not be confusing that it is going to come, all the questions are going to come in order. No, this is not true. The order only applies to whatever question that you are dealing with. So, and some people are saying that my voice is not audible. Can you please make sure that my voice again is audible and tell me I'm doing well in terms of sound quality? Is it clear what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying clear to you? All right, so I'm gonna be waiting for your response. All right. Tell me how I'm doing in terms of sound quality. And then we can start the passage. Okay, now good. Muhammad John Yuldasha said now good. Yep. All right. Firgansky. All right. Oh, it's clear. It's clear. Everybody's saying that everything's fine. All right. So now that we know what to do, so we read the title, subtitle, and then we identify the types of questions. So for this particular passage, we have 3 types of questions. So, and I know what kind of order I will be dealing with, because when I'm doing a reading passage, I want to, complete all the questions as I, finish the paragraph, as I finish the entire passage. So now, after I have identified the types of questions, the next thing I do, I, will be reading the questions and underlying keywords. So what are keywords? Keywords are most important words in the questions. They help me locate the relevant part of the passage. So here, the author's definition, so it's going to be really important for me. So that's what I'm going to underline. So I think that when they talk about definition, I'm going to be choosing this answer, like probably looking at this one, the type of ingenuity required by a society, the type of ingenuity. All right. So type of ingenuity is, I guess, important. Type of ingenuity required by a society. Okay. They even mention society here. So the creation of wealth. Okay. Then when they talk about wealth, I'm going to be finding the answer to 35. And all right, just a second. The stability of society, again, stability of society, these are really important. So when people talk about strategies, students seem to be really obsessed with, IELTS reading strategies, techniques. So they think as if, higher scoring candidates, have some sort of magic shortcut or technique to deal with IELTS reading passages. No shortcuts exist. If someone is telling you that there are some sort of shortcuts, again, personally, I've been told by some people when I was first preparing for IELTS that there are certain ways of reading the passage. Of course, we talk a lot about skimming the passage and scanning the passage. These are some of the basic skills that everyone who's probably doing any active reading should know. But some people even told me that you need to be reading the exact way, like you read this and that like this. So you probably even skip out some of the parts of the passage. I really don't understand how this is really going to help you out in terms of understanding the passage in its entirety, because if you skip out the certain parts of the passage, then there is no way that you're going to be able to understand the passage as a whole. So it's always important to read every question. So as you can see, I will not be using any techniques or strategies as most people seem to be looking for. No, there are no strategies or techniques. We just read the questions and they'll underline the keywords. When we find the relevant part of the passage, we go and look at the question and compare, and that's what we do. All right. However, there are certain test strategies you need to know in terms of, I guess the strategy is a bit of a misnomer. It's a wrong word for it. So we will be using certain time saving method. So now I will not be reading A, B, C, D, E, F, sentence endings, because there is no point in reading them. When I find the relevant part of the passage, I can come back and look at them. So I'm not really wasting any time here by reading the sentence ending. So I only want to read sentence beginnings. That's it. Okay, now I am moving to the next questions. So 39 to 30. What point did the author make about incremental changes of the last century? Okay, that's really important. Incremental changes of the last century. So when I find about incremental changes of the last century, I will be immediately coming to 37. So I will not again be reading the answer choices because they are really not helping me out in terms of saving my time. It's actually going to be a waste of time. According to the author, one effect of the combined changes is that life has become combined. One effect of the life has become, okay, what observation does the author make about complex natural systems? So as you can see in matching sentence ending questions, or in every question for that matter, you will always have a keyword that help you locate the relevant part of the passage. So you will immediately be able to find the relevant part of the passage because they are using certain keywords that are impossible to paraphrase, like complex natural systems. So they're going to mention complex natural, one effect of the combined changes. When I know that they mention combined changes, I'm going to immediately go to there. So, and then, okay, finally, yes, no, not given questions. Changes in the last 20 years have increased the need for human ingenuity. All right, I'm going to be looking at changes in the last 100 years have increased the need. So they're talking about how it increases for need for human ingenuity. All right, the amount of ingenuity available is strictly related to the demand. All right, the amount of ingenuity available. So the number of new ideas available is connected to the demand. All right, connected to the demand. The more demand there is, the more new ideas are going to be. That's what the question is saying. Although ingenuity may be available, it may be inappropriate for the tasks that need solutions at the time. Although ingenuity may be available, all right, ingenuity may be available, it may be inappropriate for the tasks. It may be inappropriate for the task. That's the key word here, inappropriate for the task that needs solutions at the time. Few people today truly understand the way modern world works. Okay, that's really important. Few people truly understand the way truly understand. So that's, I guess, keyword. So when they talk about how the modern world works, I'm going to immediately come to this question. Access to more and more information is improving our grasp of current affairs. Grasp means, understanding of current affairs. So our understanding of current affairs is improving because there is more information. Actually, there is access to more information. All right, so future generations will be critical of the way, okay? Critical of the way, so it means they're probably going to tell us off, they're going to probably criticize us. Today, governments have conducted themselves. Conduct themselves means to behave. So, all right, finally, it is inevitable that some areas of scientific study advance more quickly than others. It is inevitable, it's unavoidable that some areas of scientific study advance more quickly than others. Okay, so more quickly than others. Now that I have read the questions, I can look at the passage and question at the same time. So again, what I will do, I will be looking at the questions. So when you are doing reading passages, please take a look at the beginning, the first question of each type of question. So I'm going to looking at author's definition. I'm going to be looking at incremental changes because they are all in order. and I'm going to be looking at changes in the last 20 years. Whenever they mention any of these, I'm going to immediately come to them. The point, you should not be underlining the keywords for the sake of looking at them, like some people do it for the sake of just underlining the keyword, but you need to be actively understanding why you are underlining keywords. All right. So now we're going to be reading the passage. So ingenuity, as I define it here. So you see, ingenuity, as I define it here. So they are referring to author's definition. So I have immediately found the answer to question number 33. All right. Ingenuity, as I define here, consists of not only of ideas for new technologies, or like computers or drought-resistant crops, but more fundamentally, all right, of ideas for better institutions and social arrangements like efficient markets and governments. All right. Okay, ingenuity, the new ideas author is saying, not only ideas for new technologies like computers and drought resistance, but for more fundamental, better institutions, social arrangements like efficient markets and competent governments. So what the author is saying, ingenuity, new ideas, does not necessarily, only, kind of related, can be only have to do with what we commonly associate with new technologies. He's saying that new ideas can actually be really good for better institutions and social arrangements like efficient markets and competent governments. So I have found the answer to question number 33 here. So I know that the answer, because they are talking about all right, 33 here. So the authors of the definition of ingenuity doesn't depend on ingenuity alone. All right, this is kind of right. Okay, because they talk about not only consist of technologies like computers that depend on the successful management. No has often been missing. It's not limited to the creation of new inventions. All right. So yes, the frequently increasing in accordance with the natural is linked to factors such as weather. All right. So the answer is going to be for 33 is going to be, in my opinion, like 33 is going to be D, because it's not limited to here. It said not only, okay, you see how grammar is really important, not only, but also. It's not only about new technologies or computers. It's also about, for better institutions and social arrangements like efficient markets and computer governments. So it's going to be, the answer is going to be 20 of, not 20 something, it's going to be 33D. All right. So now I'm going to again look at probably again, the first question of the other two types of questions. When they talk about changes in the 100 years and when they talk about incremental changes, I'm going to be looking at, but now I'm going to be looking at the next question as well. So how much, what and what kind of ingenuity? Okay, what kind of ingenuity? So I can immediately notice that they're going to talk about type of ingenuity, 34. A society requires depends on a range of factors, including society's goals, the circumstances in which it must achieve those goals, whether it has a young population or aging one, an abundance of natural resources or scarcity of them, lack of them, an easy climate or pushing one, or whatever the case might be. Okay, so I know that the answer to 34 is here because they're talking about what kind of, right? What kind of ingenuity society needs, required. You see that when we were looking at the questions, we did not simply look at the questions just because we have to look at the questions, we were, actively realizing that I'm going to be seeing the paraphrase of that particular question in the text. So what kind of, so I know that I've found the relevant part of the passage. After I have scanned and after I found the relevant part of the passage, what I do, I then will be skim reading. I will be reading in order to understand that part better. So how much and what kind of ingenuity society requires depends on a range of factors. So it's actually going to depend on, it's going to hinge on a number of factors, including society's goals, circumstances within which it must achieve those goals. All right. Whether it has a young population or aging population, an abundance of natural resources, how much natural resources they have, or if they have a lack of those natural, an easy climate, or like how well the climate is, or pushing one, or a harsh one. So whatever the case might be. So it does not depend on ingenuity alone, depends on the successful Okay, the type of required by a society does not depend on ingenuity alone, depending on the successful no, has often been, is frequently increased, is linked to factors such as the weather. All right, this is going to be the answer because it's linked to factors such as the weather. So they mention a number of factors, a range of factors. So, and they then including, they mention those, factors, right? Including, we use including when we give an example. So here they're using such as, you see, in every question, they not only check your comprehension of the passage, in terms of checking your vocabulary, they also check your grammar. So we use including when we give an example, we use such as to give example as well. So the answer for 34 is going to be F. All right, it's going to be F. And can you, all right, I hope you guys can hear me well, right? You're going to give me, again, your reaction. So tell me if I'm good in terms of sound quality. All right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. So this is again, we should go on. So, all right. The next thing we do, again, every time I complete one question, I keep looking at the next questions because there is a good possibility that other questions might lie in the same paragraph. So now, the creation of wealth, how much and what kind of ingenuity society supplies. Now, in the previous paragraph, we talked about requirement. Now, supplying, giving, provision of it depends on many factors, such as the nature of human inventiveness and understanding the rewards an economy gives to the producer of usable knowledge and strengths of political to social institutional reforms. All right, how much and what kind of society, ingenuity of society supplies depends on. All right, just a second. So I'm sorry if there was a phone call. Right. How much and what kind of ingenuity? All right. So someone is asking, Ruslan Tasmaev is asking why the answer was not E. Frequently increasing course with the materials. No, like again, what type of ingenuity required by a society is linked to factors. So like they talked about in the first, how much and what kind of society requires. So it depends on a number of factors, and climate was one of the factors. So we chose factor and climate and weather is synonym. The including is synonym to like synonym for fact, like such as, and they mentioned those factors, so that the answer is definitely F. So the creation of wealth. All right. How much and what kind of ingenuity society supplies also depends on many factors. Now, even supply, even the provision depends on many factors, such as the nature of human inventiveness in understanding the rewards an economy gives to the producers of the knowledge. Of course, in some developing countries cannot reward their very smart people, because even if they are very very productive in terms of providing the knowledge, but they are not rewarded as a result, they go to rich countries where they are appreciated, right? So this is what the passage is referring to. So again, you see in this paragraph, I did not find any answer to any of my questions. So there was no mention of incremental changes. So if there was a mention of incremental changes, I would definitely look at here. There was no mention of 100 years, because I would immediately go to question number 40. I keep all the questions in my mind because there was a reason why I first of all looked at the questions. So when you look at the questions, you need to keep those questions in mind. You should not keep the whole question in mind. You should simply keep those keywords in mind. All right. The good supply of the right kinds of ingenuity is essential. So not all, ingenuity they are saying is like important. Good one, the right one is appropriate. All right. But it's not, of course, enough by itself. We know that the creation of wealth, for example, depends not only on adequate supply of useful ideas, but also on the availability of other more conventional factors of production, like capital and labor. All right. So here we have the creation of wealth. Okay, does not only depend on adequate supply of useful ideas. It's not just about the provision of simple ideas. It's also about more conventional factors, more traditional factors like production, capital, and labor. All right. So it does not depend on ingenuity alone. All right. I like that answer. Like we're gonna keep that at one of our choices. Depends on the self-assessment. No has been often misunderstood. No frequently increases. No. So the answer is going to be A, because does not depend on ingenuity alone. Does not depend here. It says depends not only on inadequate supply of useful ideas. So ideas means ingenuity, right? So, but also it depends on other factors as well. So answer is going to be definitely A. So again, the answer for 35 is here. So when you take CDI, you're going to have a better, interface in terms of how you see the passage. But here we have to do with this one, although it's not really good. So it's still manageable in my opinion. All right, I'm gonna now be looking at other questions. Similarly, prosperity, stability. Okay, I guess I found 36 as well. So in one place, prosperity, stability, and justice usually depend on the resolution or at least containment of major political struggles. So if you remember the stability of, okay, even the prosperity of, stability means how stable a society is. How stable a society is going to depend on resolution. Okay, so resolving or containing major political struggles. So I remember that threat and dispute is synonym to struggle, right? Management means containment, depend on, you're successful, all right? Yeah, the answer is definitely going to be B. So for question number 36, it's going to be B, because they talk about how containing, how resolving those major political struggles. So major political struggles means dispute. Certain, they mentioned about political ones. Management, so containment, right? Resolution, so everything is synonym. So I'm done with the first type of question. It's interesting that I did not have answers for other types of questions. This might happen. So we are lucky in terms of the location of the answers. So now we're going to move on. So the past century is countless incremental changes in our society. Okay, so incremental changes. I have incremental changes. So I'm going to immediately look at the incremental changes in 37. So I know that I found the relevant part of the passage. So 37 is here. So I'm going to will be reading in a lot more detail with the aim of understanding it very well, because multiple choice questions not only check whether you can recognize the paraphrase, it's all about understanding that paragraph as a whole. So, all right. The past century is countless incremental changes in our societies around the planet, in our technologies, in our interactions with our surrounding natural environment, have accumulated. All right, have accumulated to create a qualitatively new world. All right. So they talk about, so these incremental changes in our technology and our interaction with our surrounding natural environment have accumulated. They have all piled up. They all have come together to create a qualitatively new world. Qualitatively new world. So, okay, we've created a new world. All right. Their effect on the environment has been positive. Did they say that it has been positive? They have not affected all parts of the world. Their significance may be not noticed. They have had less impact than those of the previous centuries. So it's interesting with our surrounding, in our technologies, in our interactions with our surrounding nature have accumulated to create a qualitatively new world. Their effect on the environment has been positive. No, they have not affected all parts of the world. Their significance may be not noticed. Because these changes are accumulated slowly, it's often hard for us to recognize how profound or sweeping they have been. All right, you see what I did here? I was so much focused on this part of the text that I was struggling to find the right answer, because I was focusing on the wrong part of the passage. But the answer was, because these changes, and by the way, this is the #1 skill in my opinion, that's really important for successful IELTS reading, completion. This is referencing. Referencing is not only important for reading, it's also important for writing. And we will talk a lot about this in our writing course. So these changes are referring to those changes that were mentioned in the previous paragraph about incremental changes. And they're saying, because these changes have accumulated, have been piled up slowly, very slowly, it's often hard for us to recognize how profound. So we fail to understand how profound, how deep, how general they have been. So they have not, their significance maybe not be noticed, all right? So this is going to be the answer, because their significance is how profound and sweeping. That's the synonym for significance. Maybe not noticed, hard to recognize, hard for us to recognize. Yes. All right. One effect of combined changes. So now again, because I have found, so I'm going to put down here, so like 37 is actually not here. It's actually like, again, the same location probably. They include far larger and denser populations, much high per capita consumption of natural resources, and far better and more widely available technologies for the movement of people and materials and spatial information. All right, I'm going to be looking at other questions, because otherwise there's a good chance I might be missing all these. All right. All right. Yeah, I have enough paragraphs yet. All right. They include far larger and denser population, which much higher consumption of natural resources and far better and more widely available technologies for the movement of people, materials, and spatial information. In combination, all right. So I know that when they mention in combination, they're referring to question number 38, because they're going to talk about combined, right? Combined. So they actually change the forms of words. In combination, these changes have sharply increased the density, intensity, and pace of our interactions with each other. They have greatly increased the burden we place on our natural environment. All right. So they have sharply increased the density, how dense the society is, how intense is the pace, means how speed, all right, of our interaction with each other. And they have greatly increased the burden we place on our. So either, no, they did not talk about how easy it became, right, or faster. So faster is going to be probably a good choice here. Okay, but I might change my mind, because if there is more interesting answer, because here they talk about how it has improved pace. Pace means speed. If it has improved the speed, it means it has become faster. So yes, the answer is going to be for 38. It's going to be B, because the life has become faster. One effect. So they have sharply increased it. And in combination means combined change. Life has become faster. It has improved. And then they have helped shift power from national and international institutions to individuals and subgroups such as political, special interests, and ethnic factions. The management of our relationship with the new world requires immense and ever-increasing amounts of social and technical ingenuity. You see, reading passage 3 is so much packed with a lot of ideas that you might actually forget what is written in the passage. So you should not be actually trying to understand every detail. It's not really important to understand every detail. It's important to understand every passage as a whole. So this one was particularly about how it has affected our lives in a number of ways. So now, again, I'm going to be looking at complex natural systems. Again, the reason why I underline those keywords, I immediately noticed that the question is being paraphrased. So when we enhance the performance of any system, when we improve the performance of any system, from our cars to the planet's network of financial institutions, we tend to make it more complex. All right, they're going to immediately start mentioning complex. Many of the natural systems critical to our well-being, like the global climate and the oceans, and are extraordinarily complex to begin with. All right, so we need to slow down a little bit here. So many of the natural systems critical to our well-being is important to our health, like global climate and the oceans, are extraordinarily complex to begin with. Yes, those systems are really complex. We know that. All right. All right, to begin with, we often cannot predict or manage the behavior of complex systems with much precision, because they are often very sensitive, and the smallest of the changes and perturbations and their behavior can flip from one mode to another suddenly and dramatically. All right. So what the passage is saying, because these natural complex ecosystems are so complex, extraordinarily complex actually, it's impossible to predict the behavior or manage the behavior of those systems with exact precision, because they are often very sensitive to the smallest of the changes. If you make any small change, so they might be very sensitive. They might have some sort of effect. So their behavior can flip from one. So all right, they can be greatly affected by minor alterations. All right, immediately again, as you can see, immediately I have like very interesting answer. I like this answer a lot because they can be greatly affected. So they are very sensitive, means greatly affected. Minor alteration, smallest of changes. So it's all about recognizing paraphrase, but multiple choice questions are actually more than that. So they simply not only require to understand the passage as a whole. So let me check your comments, because I'm looking, keeping an eye on our, all right. So I'm keeping an eye on YouTube. Can you guys tell me if I'm good? If I'm good in terms of voice quality, because you guys are silent, you're not writing anything. So 31 people at the time of recording this video right now, 31 people are watching. So, all right. So you tell me if I'm good with quality of your lists are invisible to see. Somebody told me, I hope you guys can see what is written in the text. Can you guys tell me if you can see what is written in the documents? Because I'm not using my laptop, so otherwise I would have actually resolved this problem. All right, can you see what's written in the documents? Okay, Ozoda says do this for SAT reading as well. Yes, that's what actually I'm planning to do. So, all right, everybody is saying everything is good. So I guess I'm good to go, right? Am I good to go? All right. So now, yes, they cannot be, just for the caution, I'm going to be reading the other answers as well. So they cannot be compared to human-made systems. No, their performance cannot be improved by human intervention. Oh, they talk about, you see what they do with multiple choice questions. When you find the relevant part of the passage, they're going to throw every word at different answer choices, and you find yourself in a position where you are very confused. So this is why, please do not read the questions first. I mean, read the answer choices. Read the questions, but do not read the answer choices for multiple choice questions. Because if you read the multiple choice questions answer choices, you're going to be confused. Because what they do, they throw at words into different answer choices. All right. So now I'm good to go, and I have to deal with only a final type of question: yes, no, not given questions. And these are really, really, difficult because they will be, again, probably posing a lot of change, because you are now dealing with the views and claims of the author, not with what's written factually. So this is why they can be quite difficult. Over the last 100 years, you see, when I find 100 years, by the way, this was for 39, right? I need to make sure that, and then I will show you 39. So this is going to probably 40. Over the last 100 years, as the human-made and natural system we depend upon have become more complex. All right. So this is talking about changes. It has become more complex, and as our demands on them have increased, then we use to manage them must be complex too. All right. Over the last 100 years, as a human-made and natural system we depend on have become more complex. So they are referring to these changes in question number 40. So if they've become more complex, it means they have changed. And as our demands on them have increased the need. The need means demand. So the need also increased. So the answer is going to be definitely yes, but I'm going to have to make sure that I'm going to write here 40. Okay, it's going to be, the answer is going to be yes. All right, it's going to be yes, because I can see the exact paraphrase. And the institutions and technologies we use to manage them must be complex too, and which further boosts our requirement for again, it says which further boosts, again, it boosts means it increases our requirement means need. So I am now very confident the answer to question number 40 is yes, indeed, because there are two exact paraphrases that I can see. However, we should not jump to the conclusion. We should not immediately come to conclude that the supply of ingenuity always increases in the lockstep in accordance with our ingenuity requirement. So we cannot, even if there is a requirement, they are saying we will not be able to provide the same amount of ingenuity. While it's true that necessity is often the mother of invention, okay, necessity is the mother of invention. This is a common phrase that we use. We cannot always rely on this kind of ingenuity appearing when and where we need it. So in many cases, the complexity and speed of our operation of today's vital economic and social and ecological systems exceed the human's brain's grasp. Not many of us have more than a rudimentary understanding of, not many of us have more than a rudimentary understanding of how these systems work. So this is referring to 43. 43. That means if I found the answer to 43 here, I have already skipped 41 and 42, because this type of question comes in order. If you remember in earlier, at the beginning of our webinar, I told you that these questions always come in order, right? So I can now understand that I've actually missed 41 and 42. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this part, because answers to 41 and 42 are going to be here, but I've already found 43 here, and this question comes in order. I know that they are actually there. Not many of us have more than, okay, not many of us means a few of us, so it means a few of us. It's actually interesting how IELTS uses it. The IELTS might say not impossible. If they say not impossible, in the passage they say possible. So most people are confused, but they are actually synonyms, right? Not they are synonyms, they are similar in meaning. So not many of us have more than a rudimentary. Rudimentary means basic. Few of us actually have a basic understanding of how these systems work. So that means most of us don't understand. So yes, the 43 is going to be yes again. All right. Yes, few people truly understand. Not many means few people truly understand. Rudimentary understanding how the modern works, how these systems works. These systems refer to that. All right. That means I've missed 41 and 42. So, however, we should not jump to the conclusion that supply of always increase in lockstep with the requirement. While it's true that all right. So this is going to be my answer for 41, because it's saying the supply of ingenuity always increases in lockstep with our ingenuity requirement is not a good conclusion, they are saying. So what they're saying, okay, we should not come to conclude that if we supply the ingenuity, the requirement is going to be increasing in the same amount. This is not a correct correlation, they are saying. So this is going to be, so 41 is going to be no. The reason, now I will explain you why it's no, because the amount of ingenuity is strictly related, but they're saying they actually do not increase in lockstep. Okay, it's like lockstep is like this, but they don't increase in the same tandem. So while it's true that necessity often the mother of invention, we cannot always rely on the right kind of, again, so this is going to be 42, I guess. We cannot always rely on the right kind of ingenuity appearing when and where we need it. Although ingenuity may be available, it may be inappropriate for the task we need solutions at the time. We cannot always rely on the right kind of appearing. Appearing means ingenuity may be available, so that's a synonym for ingenuity may be available. Yes, there might be ingenuity, there might be new ideas to use, the appearing. We cannot rely, though. It may be inappropriate for the task. In many cases, all right, where we need it, it means inappropriate that need those solutions at the same time. Yes, this is totally 42. So the answer is going to be, again, yes, because the reason it's yes, it's exactly the same thing. We cannot always rely on the right kind of ingenuity appearing. It means ingenuity may be available. It may be inappropriate because we cannot rely on that. So it might be actually, not good enough. All right. Now, access to more and more improving our grasp of current future generations. And all right, when I see this, in this book, I explore a wide range of other factors that will limit our ability to supply the ingenuity required in the coming century. For example, the crush of information in our everyday life is shortening our attention span. Okay, crush of information means, so there's more and more information. So it's actually shortening our attention span. Our ability to focus on the task is being shortened, limiting the time we have to reflect on critical matters of the public policy. So, all right. Now, for example, this is referring to question number 44. So, for example, the crush of information in our everyday lives is shortening our attention span and limiting the time we have to reflect on the critical matters of. So, this is now going to be no. This is going to be no because access to more and more information, that's crush of information. Okay, it's actually shortening our attention span. It means we are not able to concentrate on them, limiting the time we have to reflect on. So a grasp of our current affairs, critical matters of public policy. Okay, I think that so 44 is here. 44 is here. So the answer is going to be no. And oftentimes what I notice that students kind of look for, all right, let me answer this call. All right. They kind of look for patterns. So now you might be noticing that we have a lot of yes and a lot of no's. So you might be like wondering why there are a lot of yes and no's, but you can see that there is actually exact paraphrase. So now, can I ask you a question? Do you guys also look for this pattern? You think that, oh, there are a lot of no's, so probably I'm going to change some of the answers because there are actually a lot of no's or a lot of yes. Do you also do that? Okay, tell me your answer in the comment section. All right. All right, I'm waiting for what you have to say. All right. Oh no, it's a stupid thing to do. Amir Belli. Oh, Amir Belli, why are there 46 questions? Well, the reason is there are 46 questions. I'm using the pretest sent by Cambridge. So these are real exam questions. So be fine. Yeah, sometimes like no one yes and not given most of the times. Yeah, well, I think it's wrong to look for the pattern. So if you're confident that you've found the relevant part of the passage and it's matching, no, do not please, try to look for patterns. All right, I'm gonna talking about now future generations and about some areas of scientific study, how they advance more quickly than others. Modern markets in science are an important part of the story of how we supply ingenuity. Markets are critically important because they give entrepreneurs an incentive to produce knowledge. As for science, although it seems to face no theoretical limits, at least in the foreseeable future, practical constraints to often slow in progresses. And science of rate advance depends on the characteristics of the natural phenomena. It's invented simply because some phenomena are intrinsically harder to understand than others. So the production of useful increase in areas can be very slow. So consequently, there's often critical time lag between the recognition between a problem and the delivery of sufficient ingenuity in terms of technologies to solve the problem. Progress in the social science is especially slow for reasons we do not fully understand, but we desperately need better social scientific knowledge, but to build sophisticated institutions in today's world demands. All right. So consequently, there's often a critical time lag between the recognition between a problem. So they are saying, we recognize there is a problem, but we actually fail to understand this a little bit late. And when it comes to delivering that ingenuity in terms of technologies, progress in the social science is especially slow for reasons we don't fully understand. But we desperately need better social. All right, here they're kind of referring to 46. It's like they're talking about it's inevitable some areas of scientific study advance more quickly than others. So because they are referring to how social sciences, progress, slow. All right. But future generations will be critical. So did they talk about future generations? They talked about foreseeable future here, yes. But they did not mention what the future thinks of us, what the future thinks of how today's governments are behaving themselves. They are probably referring to that. Yes, I think 45 is going to be not given, though they did mention future, but they did not, mention what the future world, future generation will think of how we behave today. Now, the final one is a little bit difficult. It's inevitable that some areas of scientific study advance more quickly than others. All right. In science rate of advance depends not on the depends on the characteristic of natural phenomena it investigates, simply because some phenomena are intrinsically harder to understand than others. So the production of useful knowledge in these areas can be very slow. All right. So, yeah, this one, well, when this happens, you can actually, what I recommend that you do, you can make a question out of the statement. So you can say, do some areas of scientific study advance more quickly than others? So like you make a question out of it. And then if you find the answer to that question, the yes, your answer is going to be yes. If you cannot find the answer, it's going to be not given. If you find the contradiction, the answer is going to be no. So, all right. Science rate of advance depends on the characteristics of natural phenomena it investigates. So the science rate of advance depends on the characteristics of natural phenomena it investigates. All right, scientific study. Simply because some phenomena are intrinsically harder to understand than others, so the production of useful knowledge in these areas can be very slow. Consequently, there's often critical time lag between the recognition between a problem and. So, guys, tell me what do you think the answer is for 46, and tell me your reason as well. I hope everybody can see this question and tell me what do you think. So this one is probably a bit difficult compared to other ones like we did. So because what my mind is doing now, I'm kind of forcing myself not to put yes because I've already have 3 yes. So I don't want to put, but the answer seems to be yes, but I don't want to put down yes because there are so many yes. So please tell me what you think the answer is. All right, in the comment section, I'm keeping an eye on the comment section, although it's already late. So I still can see what do you think of the answer. All right, tell me what you think of the answer. For 46. Okay, I'm going to show you like probably just a second. I can make it. All right. Nafisa Inagamova is saying like no. All right. Yeah, tell me what you think. No, Akbar. Yes, because if one of the areas progress slow, others considerably progress quicker. So Amir Belli is kind of right. I'm thinking the same way. All right. What about others? What do you guys think? All right. So yeah, I've got enough answers. So probably I'm good to go. I'm probably good to go. So most people said either yes or no. There is no not given here. So yes. Amir Belli says, yeah, but like here they definitely mentioned here the science rate of advance. So the advance is like here advance more quickly, right? Depends on the characteristics. now, if simply because some phenomena are intrinsically harder to understand than others, so production of useful knowledge in these areas can be very slow. Progress in the social sciences, especially for the reasons we fully don't understand, right? But we desperately need better social scientific knowledge to build the sophisticated institution today's. Right, but you know the reason it might be not given. It might be not given is that there is no mention of how other areas of scientific study advance, how other scientific areas develop. So, all right, now we've got more answers. Shawkat, go ahead with no. Nafisa Gamba changed her mind and she says not given. All right. Yes. All right. Yeah, I'm just waiting for you guys what to say. I have already made my mind up. Okay. I just want here a bit of interaction and tell me what do you think the paraphrase. So Amir Belli again, because if one of the areas progress slowly, others conservatively progress quickly. So that's what Amir Belli said. All right. Yeah, it's inevitable that some areas. Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. All right. Just because, oh, come on. Just because, you know, you can make a logical conclusion. And if you know, progress is slow in social sciences, if they can be slow, you know, progress there can be slow. So that means progress in other areas can be more quick, right? So this is why it means that actually you can come to this conclusion. So as we finished the paragraph, we also completed all the questions. So now to quickly recap what we did, we first of all read the title, right? And then subtitle, because that gives us a context. Then we identify the types of questions and making sure that we know what each question checks in terms of test skills. So matching sentence endings and then multiple choice questions and then yes, no, not given questions. Then we underline keywords, making sure that we are not reading everything. We are only paying attention to the keywords because those keywords help me find the relevant part of the passage. Then we try to complete questions and passages at the same time. We completed passages and questions at the same time. So this is again the passage that I have never seen. Like I've seen it, but I did it like a long time ago. I don't remember answers at all. And I did these passages with you. So this is how I do in the real exam. And this is like probably most of you going to take CDI and you're going to do it with almost the same interface. That's how I do the IELTS reading passages. And that's how I actually teach students to do. So as you saw, there are no strategies or techniques that we use. Did we use some sort of strategies? Did we skip out some of the parts and not read? Or did I just make some magic and found the answer immediately? No, it's all about, you know, how well you comprehend the passage as a whole and how well you understand and recognize the paraphrase. It's just about exposing yourself to like materials that require you to read at such a high level. So now with this in mind, I'm gonna now be talking about news that I have for you. So I've got news for you. So I am in collaboration with IELTS.online is organizing a reading marathon. It's like 30-day challenge. It's not really a challenge, but you are really pushing yourself a lot because you will be doing a lot of reading at a very high level. So this lasts for 30 days in which I will be, you know, instructing you with real, you know, authentic questions. So again, as I said, it's going to, you know, last for 30 days. You will be working hard even like on Sundays. So you will be doing a lot of reading. You will be doing a lot of reading analysis. So I'm going to be giving you a passage a day. So for 30 days. So that means you're going to look at 30 like passages. That means 390 questions, or probably 40 more or less, because I'll be giving passage 1, passage 2, passage 3 as well. So you will be looking at 400 authentic questions, and you will be looking at the analysis of every question. So, and our goal is to score 8.5 and 9 by the end of the marathon. So what I will do, I will send you a passage in the morning, and you complete it. These will be the passages that you have never done before, and you will do the passage, and you will send answers to the specific Google thing that we have put together, and then you get to know your results. So you have to complete your tasks by a certain deadline, and then I will then do my part. My part is to explain you the reasons why the answers are the way they are, and I will then give you the video explanation, video walkthrough of a passage every day, like I did right now. And then there will be exercises based on the passage in terms of vocabulary. And I will provide you with a keyword table, because reading is all about how you recognize the paraphrase in the test. So there will be keywords in the question and passages and text in the passage, and you need to see the paraphrase, and there will be provision of keyword table. I will give you vocabulary exercises based on the passage, and there will be a video walkthrough. And this is not actually end of it. And I will send you a high-level article exam, what are you going to have in the real exam. You're going to have the similar articles sent to you every day. So I will send you articles every day as well. So you will read them, and I will send you audio summary of the article in a Telegram group you are assigned to. So I will send you audio article, you read that as well. So then I will teach you how to write a summary of the article as you read the article, and you're going to learn a lot of, because again, it comes down how much reading you do. So as you saw, we did not use any strategies. It's about how well you understand the passage and how well you understand the paraphrase. So to achieve that level, you need to do a lot of reading. So that means you will be reading very high level articles for 30 days without any recession, without any without any break. So, and at the end of every week on Sundays, we're going to get together on a Zoom, and you and I will interact with each other. We will be talking about how well you progress and what kind of problems you are facing. So it is actually for those students who have taken the test, probably who are about to take the test, but they're stuck at band 6 and 6.5, but would like to get band 8.5 and 9. So if you are falling into this category, this marathon is really right up your street, because you are getting a lot of benefits. So you are getting everyday article, audio summary of the article, so video walkthrough, video explanation of every passage, and vocabulary is based on that. Because if you do 30 passages for the next 30 days, and you will definitely be able to, pile up a lot of vocabulary, and you immediately, because what I oftentimes see that IELTS repeats certain words in their passages, like critical, you saw that, right? Critical, something IELTS really likes. Critical, resemblance, eliminate, get rid of. These are I immediately noted that these are, right part of the text, because the IELTS likes to use these words. So yes, and you're gonna be, probably spending 5,000 sums every day for the next 30 days. So it will work out to be 150,000 sums if you would like to join this marathon that we have put together with IELTSonline.us. So if you're interested, write to our admins, and they will probably explain you the further details. And this was the end of today's webinar. If you benefited, please share this webinar with your friends, and I will see you in future webinars. And thank you for joining in. And subscribe to our channel on YouTube and on other platforms as well. Thank you.